Hi guys, welcome to the first day of Medical Detectives. We're going to take a look at a brief overview about myself, what we're going to be doing in this class, and then just some general expectations as well. So the best way to contact me first off is always going to be email or coming down during East time. If you don't have an enrichment, you are welcome to ask your teacher for permission to come down. I can email you a pass if needed, or you can just email me your question directly. So I have 12 years of teaching experience before this year. So this year is year 13 for me. I am licensed as a middle school and high school math teacher, middle school and high school science teacher. My favorites and my areas of focus were physics and chemistry. I'm also licensed to teach K through 6 elementary classrooms. And then I did have to go back to Purdue to get 3 different certifications for each of the Project Lead the Way classes. I have one son. His name is Stone. He will start 3rd grade on Wednesday. A couple fun things about him. We have spent our entire summer at the ball field. He absolutely loves baseball. Loves playing, and he kind of stands out at 4'11" right now. So he's definitely much taller than his peers. Expectations for my class. Your Bluetooth should be on at all times. That is so that I can monitor iPads without having to stand over your shoulder. Everybody likes personal space. So with that being said, if your Bluetooth is on, then I'm able to kind of monitor what you're doing, how you're answering questions, and I can also see if you get stuck. Water bottles definitely are permitted in my classroom. There are a couple exceptions to that, not at the computers. And then also when we do our dissection, we won't want water bottles on those tables while we do that. So that kind of goes into the next one. No eating in this classroom because it is a lab classroom. That includes food and all types of candy, which does also include gum. Each day when you come in, you should have your iPad with you. I always suggest having something to write with. I don't care what color, whether it's pencil or pen. Having something to write with is always good. And then have a book, other homework with you, whether it's hard copies of stuff or whether it's on your iPad. I'm always going to suggest once your work is finished for my class that you find something school acceptable to work on. So that's going to be reading or other homework. It's not going to be playing a game on your iPad. With that, music is a privilege. Do not come in with your earbuds in your ear and leave them on once the bell rings. So if you're listening during passing period, totally fine. But once class has begun, those immediately come out. That is a total rule all the way across the board, and if I have too many people that don't go by that, then we will not be allowed music at any point. At time and place, we will not need to have music during the first week, so that's something, again, I'll let you know when that time comes. Phones, school-wide, we are doing the same policy all the way across the board. Phones are going to be put in the pocket chart. That is not negotiable. The 2 locations, as stated in the student handbook, are that your phone either remains in the pocket chart or your locker. So those are the 2 locations. So the excuse in the past, I was texting a parent, not even that is allowed during class. You have to have adult permission. So that would be something you need to make sure the adult in the room gives you permission to do. Also, don't pack up early. We are going to go. I will generally, especially if we're doing a certain lab, I will have kind of that cleanup time set, but we're not going to line up. We're going to stay at our seats, seated until that bell, and then I will let you know that you can exit the room. So wait for that. 99.9% of the time, you will have some type of notice from me as soon as that bell rings that you're able to exit. But I do ask that you wait for me to give you that kind of sign that you should leave. Power school codes and grading policy. So this year, your class is weighted. It will be 70% of your grade coming from labs, 20% of your grade coming from quizzes, and the last 10% are bell works or other reflections that we might do. In PowerSchool, I will be using the same codes as everyone else. The LS stands for a low score. That means that you did complete the assignment, but didn't earn at least a 50% on that assignment or test or quiz. NHI, not handed in. So yes, it is given a 50% grade, but it means that it was not actually turned in on Canvas, and so that you would still need to do that. With that being said, late work is going to receive an automatic 10% deduction if it is turned in late. There is an exception to that. Obviously, if you have a doctor's appointment, then when you return the next day, you would need to check in, and I'll let you know when your new due date is. If you do not come check in, or you wait to check in until 3 or 4 days after you return, it's going to be a late deduction. So you need to make sure if you're absent, check in immediately the day you return so that you and I can work out the times for when assignments are due and how a lab might need to be changed. So with that being said, if you miss a lab that happens in this classroom, you still have to make up that lab. We will work on a time to figure out how you can get that made up, either during East time, during lunch, or during class, but we will figure out a time together that works. But labs do have to be made up. So what are we going to be covering this year? This year, we have 3 major units that we're going to look at. The first one is our general overview. You guys are going to learn a lot of basics about vital signs. You'll take your temperature, you'll learn how to take your blood pressure and heart rate, and then we'll look at what those should be at. We will look at different foodborne pathogens, such as Salmonella and E. coli, and we'll talk about how that kind of plays into food safety and temperatures that food should be kept at. We will look at some genetic diseases, and then we will also do a career exploration where you'll be able to see different careers that are considered biomedical that you might not know about. Our second unit we're going to go into is going to be all on the human body. So we will look at the senses, all of them. We will look at the human brain anatomy, and then we'll use what we learn and look at in the human brain and compare it to a sheep brain when we do our sheep brain dissection. Our final unit is our forensics unit. In that unit, we are going to look at how time of death is calculated. We're going to look at how a suspect is identified. We'll look at how bone length compares to what someone's full height is, and how you can actually calculate a rough height based on just one bone in the body. And then we will look at different forensic cases and analyze those, pulling out different pieces of evidence. Okay? So those will be all the things that we're going to be covering during the quarter. I look forward to having a great quarter with you. And again, as always, if you ever have any questions, come see me or send me that email.